Hi everybody, Dan Bailey here with a very special fun video for today. Being October 4th, 2021, today officially marks the 25-year anniversary of my self-employment. That's right, I've been a pro photographer for a quarter of a century. When I look back and reflect on all the stuff that's happened, all the stuff that I made happen or tried to make happen, all the ideas I had, the decisions I've made, the people I've met, people who helped me along, all the interactions I've had over the years, and all that stuff, it just blows my mind to think that I made it this far. As you can imagine, this is an incredibly momentous achievement for me, and so I just wanted to take a little bit of time to celebrate and look back and talk about what this means and how it's impacted my photography, even today as we go forward here, even with the YouTube channel. So a little bit of background. In the fall of 1996, I was living in a basement apartment in Fort Collins, Colorado, climbing, skiing, hiking, mountain biking, and all that kind of stuff, shooting photos and trying to build up my portfolio. I'd actually gotten into photography 5 years earlier while I was in music college. I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, studying guitar and recording engineering. And I bought a camera one day and I fell in love with photography. And so by the time I graduated from college, I just saw myself more in tune towards a life of photography than sitting in windowless recording studios and smoky bars. And even though I still love music and I still do recording on my own, photography was the passion that took off and made me want to do that full time. So fast forward to 1996, 5 years later, living in Fort Collins, basement dweller, rock climber, long hair and everything. And I had a job working at a digital photo lab, scanning slides and negatives to Kodak Photo CD format, which was one of the first commercially available digital formats where you could store your images and view them on a computer. And so on that fateful afternoon of October 4th, which by the way also happens to be Stevie Ray Vaughan's birthday, anyway, my boss came in after lunch and as usually he had a little bit too much to drink. Wasn't my favorite boss. I don't think any of us liked him at the job. Anyway, he came in after lunch and told me he was letting me go, that I was going to be fired. So I packed up all my stuff and said bye to my friends who I worked with and pedaled home kind of feeling really dejected and wondering what the hell I was going to do with my life. Not that that was any big career, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I knew that I wanted to be a pro photographer. I just wasn't sure how to get there. But having worked as an editor at a stock photo agency in Boston, I actually had a pretty good idea of how the business worked. And so I had an idea of where I wanted to get to. I wanted to be a pro working adventure photographer, a guy shot for outdoor magazines and catalog companies and stuff like that. And I had that background as an editor, so I put those two things together and I started contacting magazines and outdoor companies like Patagonia and Black Diamond and the North Face, and I started sending promo cards and pages of slides, my best slides that I had at the time. And I would put those in a FedEx envelope and send those to art directors and photo buyers at these companies. And within a few months, I'd actually had some pictures published, and that was the jumping off of my career. And the funny thing was, my very first assignment, and it actually came through my editor from Boston, my former boss, at the stock agency, and they had a request for someone to photograph a decorating company. These people own this decorating company in Fort Collins, and this was for an interior design magazine called Decorating Dimensions. And so it was like the furthest possible thing from adventure photography. But hey, assignment comes my way, I say, yes, I can do that. And so I grab my photo gear and my flashes, and I go down and I shoot this crowded interior decorating store full of stuff and people wearing glasses and low ceilings, and I'm shooting with flash, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I nailed it. And I got the cover of the magazine and I got my first check, and that was it. That showed me that, hey, I can do this. And that was not even in my wheelhouse. And so it was probably fitting that very first job had nothing to do with adventure photography, because a lot of stuff that I've done over the years, wasn't the ideal assignment, at least when I first started. And that's what you have to do when you're self-employed, when you're running a business. You have to take the work that comes in, even though it might not be the exact thing that you want to do at the time. So anyway, over the next few years, I got more jobs and I sold more pictures to magazines and outdoor companies, and I worked my name up in the business, and I became one of the up-and-coming, well-known adventure photographers in the industry. And that was really cool. And after about 5 years, I was feeling great, and then the first crash happened, and that was 9/11. And the industry completely went downhill from there, and everything came to a halt. You know, if you were around, you remember that. Like, the whole world changed in that moment. And so everything I'd been building up towards came crumbling down. And so that was the first of 3 economic crashes that I've had to weather. And of course, whenever you have roadblocks like that, and there were certainly many other roadblocks and struggles and hard times aside from those 3 major crashes, you know, I didn't get certain jobs I was really hoping for, or, you know, didn't get paid enough, or clients used my work without paying and I had to try to go to court and get money back from them, or, you know, whatever, any kind of struggles you face along the way. Clients aren't coming in, oh, nobody's shooting assignments right now, or, oh, we don't pay for photos anymore, or, you know, whatever. You have to try to find a way to adapt to the changing industry. And the photo industry looks vastly different than it did when I first started 25 years ago. And I think that most industries probably do as well. And so this kind of thing is not just in the photo industry. You know, everybody who's ever had a business in the past quarter of a century has had to deal with all these up and downs and these shifts in technology and these waves that look nothing like they did when you first started. For the first few years of my career, my bread and butter was assignment photography and stock photography. You know, most of my days were out spent shooting photos of my friends and of other athletes, and, you know, compiling my stock photo library so that I could sell photos from my own office and also through the agencies that I submitted to. But now, over the past 2.5 decades, you know, all those agencies, I think I've been with about 10 or 11, maybe 12 stock photo agencies, 12 different agencies. And in the past 25 years, almost all of those have either folded, gone out of business, or been bought up by somebody else. And the last one, pretty much the last agency that I'm with is Getty. And I'm only with Getty because they bought so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and I ended up there. And a couple years ago, Getty decided that their entire business model was going royalty-free. And so the days of getting nice big fat checks from a huge rights managed sale to a big company, they're gone. And those weren't, you know, huge, those weren't, you know, coming in on a regular basis anyway, especially at the end. But, you know, every once in a while, you get a big check comes in, you're like, whew, that was a nice piece of butter. Now it's all royalty free. And so I might get, I think I got a check from Getty the other day for $64 for last quarter or something. So can't really live on that, can you? And as with everything, you have to have all of this stuff kind of stacked up, so that if one thing doesn't work out, you have a lot of things to fall back on. They all add up to this pile that you can kind of eke a living out of. And so 25 years later, most of those agencies I was with that were my regular bread and butter are gone. And by the same token, a lot of the magazines I used to sell to have gone out of business or been bought up, or the art directors are long gone. You know, a lot of the people I worked with are no longer in the industry. And so, you know, you kind of lose those contacts over the years. And over time, all those lost contacts build up. And, you know, another thing is the whole professional photo industry and assignments especially, a lot of those are geared towards social media these days. You know, social media influencers and, you know, people who have 1 million followers, and that ain't me. And so there are people making money at that kind of thing, but that's just not really the business model of photography that I aspire to. And, you know, with the way that web advertising is now, and with the general fire hose of money that's gone straight up, and that's left very little money for the working guys out here who were trying to eke a living. And so, you know, assignments that used to pay a couple $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, a lot of those pay a fraction of what they used to pay, or not at all. You know, I went to a trade show a couple years ago and saw my old clients, and they were my bread and butter clients from years ago. And now they're like, well, we don't pay for photos anymore. That's just the way it is. So in that way, the industry has changed a huge way, and I've had to adapt along the way, but I've also changed. About halfway into my career, around 2008, I started writing more, and I started a blog. And that whole blogging thing became a dominating thing in my life and my career. I found that I immensely enjoyed writing about photography, and I immensely enjoyed teaching photography. And that propelled a huge shift in my photography business and the way that I do things. And so a lot of what I do these days revolves around teaching, teaching you guys to be a better photographers, and inspiring people, inspiring you guys to create more and free up your inhibitions with the camera and increase your skills and your confidence with photography so that you can go out and have the same kind of enjoyment at it that I do. Because photography has been an amazing thing in my life. It's contributed so much, and all of the stuff that's come to my life through photography, somehow, either directly or indirectly, has made my life so much richer and so much more fulfilling, and I just want even a fraction of that for you guys. And another thing that's become this vital, all-important component in my photography and really dictates, the drive for what I'm doing these days. In this crazy mixed up world we live in, I wholeheartedly believe that the more creative we are, the more success we find with our creativity, and the more we can influence others through our creativity, and even influencing other people to be creative, not just absorb our own creative efforts. I firmly believe that not only will that help us be happier human beings, it will also, I think that being creative can also be the catalyst for change, for helping to make a better world for all of us. And I did a whole video about this. We can find this on my channel. I'll put this link up so you can go check it out. But yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that creativity is one of the things that makes us so human, and so it's one of the things that can make a difference in all of our lives. And so that mindset drives a lot of what I do, because I'm at the point in my life where I do want to make a difference in the world, and I do want the world to be a better place, because I'm just as dismayed and concerned about a lot of the things that go on in our world as I'm sure you are. And so I guess this is just my way of doing my part to change the world and make it a better place in the short time that I'm existing in it. And so again, not only did that adaptation towards writing, blogging, doing ebooks, and now video lessons and video courses, not only did that prove to be an effective strategy to keep my business going through those hard times, it turned out to be one of the most fulfilling, if not the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done with photography. So yeah, and I have you guys to thank for that, because you're the ones who watch my channel and buy my books and read my blog and all that stuff. So I owe a lot of my success in photography. I owe so much of that to you guys, and I really appreciate your support over the years. And so when I look back on my 25 years as a pro photographer, I just want to extend my deepest gratitude and thanks to everyone who's ever believed in me, gave me a chance, hired me for a job, used my photos, published my work, watched one of my videos, bought one of my ebooks, my video courses, any of that. I just want to thank you guys, because all of that has contributed to my success as a pro photographer in the last quarter of a century. And it keeps inspiring me to do my best and to keep trying to get you guys to be better photographers and inspire you as well. And finally, I just want to leave you with this message. If you believe in yourself and you have the dedication to work hard and persevere, and I'm talking long game here, I'm talking long-term success. Sometimes it takes a long time for things to pan out and for you to finally gain that momentum. But if you have that drive and that dedication and the perseverance to keep plugging away and keep holding true to yourself and your heart and what you want out of life, then there's nothing that you can imagine that you can't do. And I'm living proof of that. I'm the guy who's the shining example of why that's true. So it's been an absolutely amazing, fulfilling, adventurous journey with photography in the past 25 years for me. And I'm really curious as to what the next 25 years are going to look like. But for now, I want to thank you for watching this video. Be sure you check some of my other videos out. I've got a bunch of stuff on the channel. I'm excited to keep going with this and keep trying to inspire you and teach you how to be more confident photographers. So yeah, thanks for watching. Best of luck with your own photography and your own endeavors in life out there. And I'll see you next time.